Yeah.
On the flip side, that's what we've been asking for.
100%. Yeah, yeah. And you know, sometimes we play a ton of games. Everybody in this business is a pro, and anybody that's a pro can have an exceptional night. So sometimes it just wasn't meant for you to win. But if you're trying to adhere to what your standard is, then it's all you can ask for. Like you said, at certain times, you move on. But those things have to be here, day in, day out, night in, night out, 24/7, 365 days a year.
Anything new on the Josh front? What he's able to do in practice, or is he still pretty limited? What he's able to do?
Yeah, he's limited now.
He's doing more on court stuff and he's not shooting.
Yeah, and as time goes on, again that's Casey's job, but they're ramping it up a little bit.
It's been close to 2 weeks now since
Yeah.
you last played. Just how does that, I guess, hinder your ability to evaluate? I know that you go off history, but you're trying to implement so many different things.
Yeah.
Are you expecting him to be available for the finale, or what do you think?
Well, I don't know yet, but first thing is that's why you got, in this case, we got 21 guys. But we always talk about next man up, next man up, next. Hey, keep yourself ready because you never know when your number's called. So it's twofold. It gets those guys mentally ready for that. It gives other guys opportunities. It gives me an opportunity to see others. But at the end of the day, Josh is an extremely important part of our process. We know this is going to be a process. It's not going to happen game one, game two. We're not going to come out, could we come out blazing? Yeah, who knows? But it's going to be a process. We're going to have our highs, we're going to have our lows. Can't get too high if it's going good, can't get too low if it's not. We got to stay even keeled and know that this is a marathon and not a sprint at the end of the day. And then on top of that, because he's out, if others are out too, we may face some adversity, which we need to face. And now it's about, we have those standards. Are those standards true? Because that's when you really know if people can adhere to stuff, is when you hit adversity. Do you go right? Do you go left? Or do you fight through it as a connected group?
What are you learning about Landry Shamet?
About Shamet?
Yeah, his last shot was limited for a lot of the year. But he did take a play.
The first thing is he plays extremely hard on both ends of the floor. Defensively, he's usually in the right spot. He's physical without fouling, and he will communicate and do his best to do whatever his job is. Offensively, he creates space because he's a shooter, so he creates even more space for his teammates, whether it's in the half court or transition. In transition, everybody knows we want to get to the corners to flatten the defense out. He does a heck of a job putting his head down and getting to the corners on every possession. So again, that helps create more space. When he cuts, it's with a high level of pace again, and he drags defenders with him. And so his cutting creates a gravity offensively because he can shoot that may open up other opportunities for his teammates. And then he tries to do the little things, offensively that won't show up in a stat sheet, but that when we track, he tries to do those things the right way as well.
This might be a dumb question. You mentioned
No, it's not done.
We'll see. We'll see.
Okay, we'll see. Wait. She said, wait. She said, not only that, she said, wait. Then she's like,
I'm very pleased with the performance of the day.
yeah.
How much, you always, do the guys sit down and watch preseason, you do cut preseason film? Do you move on? Does it depend? Will you always watch film after a preseason game?
Yeah, most times we will, and we did, because, again, the good part about it is, doesn't at the end of the day matter if you win or lose in the preseason. I mean, I've had plenty of records as a head coach where we had losing preseason records. So it's about growth, and growth the right way. And so a lot of things that we did or didn't do well in that preseason game, to me, those are great teaching moments, great learning moments. And so we watched film today, and we went through some of that stuff. And it's good because even the starters, because the guys that are out, they watch the game, and they're able to see it. And now you're able to show them on film, backing up, pausing it, all that, of why we can't do a certain thing this way. Because again, if you do, it starts the dominoes to fall, and now it's easy opportunities for your opponent.
I have worse questions.
What's that?
I have worse questions.
No, that was pretty good.
How is this version of OG on offense different from one that maybe you had the game plan against your face earlier in his career? Last year was kind of a big step for him offensively. Just from what you've seen, how is this a different version?
Well, OG is extremely talented, and you know he can do a lot of different things with the basketball, without the basketball. I know I'm really pushing OG to get out and run because he could be a great runner. And if he gets out and runs and he catches the ball on the throw ahead, now the defense is not set. And you talk about catching the ball and having the ability to shoot the ball from three like he does, that means the defense got to close to him hard. The defense behind that closeout guy is not set. And now this is where his snap drive comes into play. And as long and big and strong as he is, if he snap drives that thing and gets downhill with the defense that's not set, I mean, call it lunch meat. It's lunch meat at that point in time. So I'm pushing him to do that. And, again, it's one of those things, I don't know if they, in the past, did that a lot. I don't know. But I know I'm pushing him to do that because I think he can be really, really good. Both he and Mikal in the open floor.
Landry said that, he was talking about last year and he had that shoulder injury and he really had to go through a lot of adversity. And he said it kind of changed him a little bit as a person, made him, he's pretty thankful to be here.
Yeah.
I mean, do you see even, for an older, or not older player, but a veteran player, kind of a change like, when they go through something like that?
I wasn't here with Landry every day, so that's a little tough. But I do know, as you get older, especially if you go through an injury or two, and you see how fragile your opportunity is to be here in the NBA, you do appreciate it more. And that's not just not just for a player, but even as a coach too. Whether you're a head coach or an assistant coach, and you hit some adversity, and next thing you know, you're out. And you should reflect on the time that you were at your last location, why you're out, how you can change, and it does show more appreciation to you getting another opportunity in this league, and shoot, not just with us, but I mean, obviously for you guys too. I mean, if you go through some adversity and something happens where there's a chance you might be out, but next thing you know, now there's a chance you're in, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna do things a little different this way, or I'm gonna appreciate it a little bit more that way. Whatever it may be, it's all human nature.
A lot of teams that say they want to play fast and shoot the three ball at a high level. Where does your belief come from that it'll work with this roster, given what this team wants to achieve?
We have guys that can get out and run. We have guys that have a good feel for the game of basketball, so they, as we continue to progress forward, they'll understand spacing a lot better. And we have guys that can play make, and when you have those things, guys that can get out and run, guys that have a good feel, and guys that can pass, dribble, and shoot, it usually bodes well for them. At least that's what I've experienced the last three years, 4 years if you include the Nigerian national team. But and then it wasn't the same offense that we ran in Golden State, but there are some concepts that we took from there and we added to what we're doing. But at the same time, it takes some time to get used to playing this way, and it's not going to happen all at one time. And I think our guys know it, but they're working their tails off to try to get it there.
Thanks, bro.
Thank you, guys.
How's it been just getting these preseason games under your belt, getting up to speed with Coach wants?
It's been good, learning each and every day. Each day I get more and more comfortable. Offensively and defensively, I think we're picking up on what he wants us to do.
When you say comfortable, what's I guess the biggest? Maybe it's a learning curve. Maybe it's like just something that you have to get used to. What are you getting comfortable with in the offense?
Oh, just terminology, sure, and then just the style of play, different. So I'm just learning, figuring it out. More so, I mean, I guess when the game is sped up and there's more driving kicks and just taking shots that are open. I think it's emphasis for everyone to shoot when open. You know, instead of driving in, shooting a tougher shot, shoot the open three, and just being ready to shoot at all times.
You offensively had one of your best seasons last year. When you go into a year like this, do you kind of expect defenses to play differently? How do you sort of anticipate kind of the chess match of that?
It all just depends on the lineups out there and then also the team we're playing. So it just depends on how the game's going, really.
What do you feel like is that next evolution for you as a scorer after kind of the strides you took last year? Is there something in your mind that's kind of that next thing to unlock?
Just all around, you know, knowing when to shoot, when to pass, when to drive, just knowing what to do when.
What is harder, a transition or when you get a new coach? Is it offense or defense, or what has it been for you? Is it both?
Probably both, because it's just new terminology, new principles. Some things are the same, but just the new things, having to pick up on it, remember, and to focus on it when you're out there to do what they want you to do, and not just do what you've done in the past.
Usually at this time, you guys are probably just waiting to start the season, get ready to go, in a long camp, but is it different now because it's a new coach and you still learn almost every day something new?
I think we're still excited for the season to start, but also we're still fortunate for these days to learn and grow and figure ourselves out and just prepare for the long season.
There's obviously the roster situation. You have young guys at the end of the rotation that are kind of fighting for their spots on this team. How are you seeing them respond to the pressure, respond to the opportunities, and respond to what's on the table for them?
I think they've done a great job. They all work really hard. They ask questions. They're eager to learn, and they play hard, and that's all you can ask for.
What are your expectations for the beginning of the season? I mean, new coach, new offense, new defense. You know, a lot of people see all the players that are on this team and think you're going to come out and win 50 games straight. Just what are your expectations to how you guys are going to start the year?
Of course, you always want to win 50 games straight, but also you realize it's a long season, so you'd rather learn and grow, especially early in the year, and figure stuff out so you can peak towards the end and into the playoffs. So I think each game we're going to try to learn and build, and hopefully we come out, we win the first 50 games.
Under the previous coach, you guys ran a lot of man-to-man defense. Torres didn't do a lot of zone. This defense you guys have run, and please correct me if I'm wrong, it feels like it has like zone principles, kind of like. Would that be accurate to say? And like, what is the benefit in that type of defense as opposed to kind of strictly man-to-man?
Just the ball handler or person guarding the ball, knowing there's help behind you, and knowing where it's coming from, and then just everyone being kind of on a string. But we're figuring it out as well. Like, we're not used to it fully, but each day it's getting better and better. And I think the coaches have done a good job, like emphasizing to us and then showing us on film where we need to be, and then we're going out trying to execute it.
What does your off-season regimen look like? At what point do you come back from taking? How much time do you take off? At what time do you come back? What do you focus on?
I don't take too much time off, but just start back shooting, and then get into everything: shooting, ball handling, conditioning. Then later in the summer, start playing pickup, and then lifting the whole time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So it's not like you come into the offseason thinking, okay, let me work on one part of something I want to bring back for next year. It's kind of just well-rounded everything.
Well-rounded everything, but then when you're watching games and watching film, you see things that you want to, improve on or get better at, or you're watching other people play and you're seeing stuff they're doing, you want to add it to your stuff. So I think you can always learn. Even in summer league games, you can watch and see something. Oh, I like what they did.
Was there anyone in particular that you watched that you want to pick up?
No, I can't say anyone in particular, just because you can't say that. But like, whenever I watch a game, I always learn something, or I see someone do something that I like to try to incorporate or work on.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you, guys.
We decided, it doesn't sound like they guaranteed anybody anything, but it sounded like there was a real opportunity here for you to come back with the team.
Yeah, I mean, I think, it sounds like you nailed it. That's, I think it's all been publicized pretty clearly. We know what the situation is, and, there's no questions around what the reality of that is.
How was camp going for you in your mind? How is it, is it just like last year? Is it a different mindset for you?
I think you learn to, just as a pro, I think we all just try to manage our controllables and showing up as a pro and trying to, bring the right approach and mentality to the team setting, regardless of personal agenda or whatever the case may be. So my thought is, how can I help our team and help add to the culture, add to, what we're trying to do collectively, offensively, defensively, and, show up and be the best pro I can be regardless of, what the circumstances are.
Kind of with that, the Indiana series in the rotation, things went really well when you and DeLon were on the floor. How did that benefit you going into the summer? Just, I know you guys lost, right? That probably sticks with you, but to have the impact that you did, preparing for a new season.
I think you just, just kind of speaks to the same thing I'm talking about. And it really, that's why I think, I try to weigh so much on erring on that side of things is just, there's so much stuff that you can't control. You can't control when coach is going to play you or how much he's going to play you or whatever. The list is endless, and there's only a few things you can't control: your energy, how you show up, what kind of teammate you're going to be, your approach. And I think last year was just a good example of that for myself. To be focusing on those things, and that's the right thing to be focused on, and everything else takes care of itself from there.
Coach has been talking about playing fast. Do you think that fits your game?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why?
I run, get out and run, create pace offensively off of DHOs, pin downs, making quick decisions with the ball, be the first domino, don't have to make the play right away. Coach talks about that a lot, and find your ways to be effective within the flow of the offense and playing fast and being an asset for others. Even if I'm not getting the ball and I'm running to the corner, that's, helping a driving Jalen or an OG or Cat or whoever. There's value in that, even if it's not showing up on the box score. And, I'm just trying to do the best I can.
How much do you think these new wrinkles offensively and defensively can kind of lift the ceiling for what you guys never did last year? Do you think it would make that big of a difference?
Yeah, I think having a structure where everybody's clear and understands our triggers and what we're trying to do. Obviously we have great playmakers and guys where eventually, they're going to be able to shine and do their thing. But the reality is if one or a few of those guys are not on the floor, how do we collectively still be effective and, even give other teams a different look? And I think that's what this kind of structure gives you the opportunity to do. If we're playing one way with the first unit, second unit comes in and we're playing solely out of this, some of the structure that you guys are seeing, that's two different flavors that a team has to adjust to in a short amount of time. So I think that's beneficial, and just even on that same note, with our first unit, we have so many guys who are capable and effective offensively where, you're less predictable when playing out of that. So I think it's incredibly beneficial.
It sounds like,
Couple
yeah,
more guys.
you really like the versatility of it all when you're talking about it. And do you think, that plays to your game too?
For sure, yeah. Being able to read and just, make reads, play off of each other. We're all learning and still figuring things out. We're adding new wrinkles every day. I think that's important to note from what us Knicks fans are seeing at home. That's part of training camp, and we're all building. And there's a long game in mind here. So, I know we're just kind of beginning to scratch the surface of, what's capable for us offensively. And I think what we've shown so far is promising.
How excited are you personally with everything you had to go through last year, just to show the version of who you are?
Yeah, that last year, we're about a year out, year to date, that injury I had and dislocating my shoulder and getting waived for the first time and having to get healthy and first time in a G League, you get a newfound appreciation for everything. Being in the building, being tired in the morning, making the drive to practice, and all of it looks different, sounds different, everything. So there's never a day that goes by I'm not grateful. That's why I said it'd be a waste of time for me to focus on all the stuff I can't control. That's why I'm trying to just be here and be the best pro I can be, best teammate I can be. And, not everybody gets to throw on a Knicks jersey, even if it's for a year or whatever the case may be. It's an opportunity, and I'm just blessed and grateful for it.
Sounds like you learned a lot from that adversity. I mean, maybe, as a player, as a person, sort of.
For sure, yeah. Anytime you go through difficulty, hardship like that, it changes perspective, and you don't appreciate all of the good stuff without going through. It's like the no mud, no lotus saying. You gotta get a little dirty sometimes, and there's beauty on the other side of it, though.
This might be a dumb question, but I think the way you carry yourself, you give a thoughtful answer. You said it was clear from the beginning that there was a competition for however many spots. I don't know if you had a relationship with Malcolm or the other veterans, Garrison and those guys. What's it like knowing that you're competing for a spot, but also wanting to be a great teammate in the process? Is that just something you have to go through as you mature through the league?
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't think it has to be one or the other. I think Malcolm, Garrison, anybody in here on a training camp deal, two-way guys, they're all great dudes. And, I'd say that to them. I'd say that to you guys. It's not me sitting here blowing smoke. It's not one or the other. The reality is, too, like, even during the season, there might be interchange. I'm not going to not be a good teammate to a guy that, maybe he's on a trade block and gets dealt in a few weeks. Like, that's all part of this profession in this league. You're measured on, your pro, your readiness, and if you're a good teammate. Those are things you can control.